Welcome to Vault of 15, your number one top 15 list maker. Fame can be dazzling, but behind the lights often lies darkness. Some stars rise fast, only to fall in ways no one could have predicted. Their endings are reminders that even the brightest lives can end in tragedy. In this episode, we uncover 15 celebrities who met tragic ends. Stories that shook fans, stunned the world, and turned fame into heartbreak. Number 15, Christina Grimmie. Christina Grimmie began as a YouTube singer before gaining national attention on The Voice. Her voice, charisma, and kindness quickly drew a loyal following, and she was known for treating fans like friends. On June 10, 2016, after performing at the Plaza Live in Orlando, she stayed behind to greet supporters. The lobby filled with people eager for a photo or autograph. Christina smiled at each one, chatting warmly as the line moved forward. When one man stepped up, she opened her arms to welcome him. Instead, he pulled out a gun and fired. Panic spread instantly as fans screamed and scattered. Her brother tackled the attacker, trying to stop him, as the room descended into chaos. Emergency responders rushed Christina to the hospital, but the wounds were too severe. At only 22, her life and career ended in a moment that stunned everyone present. Number 14, Mia Zapata. Mia Zapata was the fierce and soulful lead singer of the punk band The Gits. Her raw voice and powerful lyrics making her a rising star in Seattle's early 90s music scene. Known for her energy on stage, she embodied the rebellious spirit of the era. On the night of July 7, 1993, after leaving a friend's apartment, Mia began walking home through the quiet streets of Seattle's Capitol Hill neighborhood. It was after midnight, and the city's grunge heartbeat had slowed to silence. Somewhere along her walk, she was attacked and overpowered. Hours later, a passing motorist discovered her body. The sudden loss of such a vibrant young artist shook the community. Fellow musicians, including members of Nirvana and Pearl Jam, helped fund the investigation. For nearly a decade, her case remained unsolved, casting a long shadow over Seattle's music scene until DNA evidence revealed her killer years later. Number 13, Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye was the Prince of Motown, a soul icon whose songs defined an era. Behind the fame, though, he battled inner turmoil and a turbulent relationship with his father. In 1984, Marvin was living at his parents' Los Angeles home, worn down by depression and drug struggles. Arguments with his father, Marvin Gaye Sr., grew more heated. On April 1st, the tension reached its breaking point. After a bitter fight, his father retrieved a revolver, a gift Marvin himself had once given him, and shot his son twice in their home. The music world was stunned. Marvin had just turned 45 the day before, and fans had expected a comeback. His death at the hands of his own father became one of the most shocking tragedies in music history, silencing a voice that had given the world classics like What's Going On and Sexual Healing. Number 12, Dimebag Darrell. Dimebag Darrell, legendary guitarist of Pantera, was adored for his wild riffs and larger-than-life stage presence. After Pantera split, he formed the band Damageplan, eager to keep the music alive. On December 8, 2004, fans packed the Alrosa Villa nightclub in Columbus, Ohio. As Damageplan launched into their first song, a man burst onto the stage with a gun. He fired at close range, striking Darrell as the crowd screamed in disbelief. Bandmates and fans tried to react as chaos spread through the venue. A police officer rushed inside and fatally shot the attacker, preventing further bloodshed, but it was too late for Dimebag. He was only 38 years old. The scene horrified the music world. A celebrated guitarist gunned down mid-performance in front of hundreds. For fans, the image of Dimebag's final moments on stage became an unforgettable scar in heavy metal history. Number 11, Felix Pappalardi. Felix Pappalardi was best known as the bassist and songwriter for the rock band Mountain, contributing to their famous hit Mississippi Queen. Beyond performing, he was also a talented producer, working with Cream on some of their greatest records. By the early 1980s, Pappalardi's personal life had become complicated. His marriage to Gail Collins, who often collaborated with him artistically, was strained by affairs and arguments. On April 17, 1983, in their Manhattan apartment, one of those disputes turned deadly. During a heated confrontation, Collins pulled a revolver and shot Felix in the neck. She later claimed it was an accident, but the evidence told another story. He was 43 years old. Collins was convicted of criminally negligent homicide, but avoided a murder charge. The rock world was left stunned that a relationship so central to Pappalardi's career also led to his violent end. Number 10. Cliff Burton. Cliff Burton was Metallica's gifted bassist, known for transforming heavy metal with his thundering solos. On September 27, 1986, while touring Sweden, the band's bus crashed on a cold, dark road. Hours earlier, Cliff had claimed the top bunk in a card game, a twist of fate that placed him in the most dangerous spot. As the bus skidded and overturned, Cliff was thrown through a window. When the dust settled, he lay trapped beneath the wreckage. Bandmates James Hetfield and Lars Ulrich stood nearby in shock as rescuers rushed in, but there was nothing they could do. Cliff was only 24. His sudden loss left Metallica devastated, and the tragedy echoed through the world of rock. A rising star silenced before his full brilliance could be seen. Number 9. Selena Quintanilla. Selena Quintanilla was the radiant queen of Tejano music, adored for her voice, charisma, and dazzling stage presence. On March 31, 1995, she arranged a meeting at a Days Inn in Corpus Christi with Yolanda Saldivar, the president of her fan club, to confront her over missing funds. Inside the motel room, the confrontation turned heated. As Selena turned to leave, Saldivar pulled out a gun and shot her. Bleeding, Selena managed to stagger to the lobby, crying out for help. She collapsed at the reception desk, whispering her attacker's name before losing consciousness. Paramedics rushed her to the hospital, but the wound was fatal. At just 23, Selena's death devastated the Latin music world. Vigils sprang up across the U.S. and Mexico, with tens of thousands gathering to mourn the young star whose career had only just begun. Number 8. Brian Jones. Brian Jones founded the Rolling Stones and shaped their early sound with his multi-instrumental brilliance. Yet by 1969, his wild lifestyle of drugs and excess had pushed him out of the band he created. He retreated to Cotchford Farm, once owned by Winnie the Pooh author A. Milne, hoping to find peace. On the night of July 2nd, Jones partied with friends at his Sussex home. In the early hours of July 3rd, he was discovered lifeless at the bottom of his swimming pool. Panic erupted among the group as they pulled him out, but it was too late. Rumors swirled, some claimed an accident, others suspected foul play, but the official verdict was death by misadventure. At only 27, Jones joined the infamous 27 Club, his brilliance cut short just as the Rolling Stones reached global superstardom. Number 7. John Denver. John Denver's voice had carried millions through songs like Take Me Home, Country Roads, and Annie's Song. Off stage, he was an avid pilot. On October 12, 1997, he took off in a small experimental plane from Monterey, California, under clear skies. Minutes into the flight, trouble struck. Witnesses on the beach below saw the plane veer oddly, Denver struggling with the controls as the aircraft descended rapidly. Moments later, it plunged into the Pacific Ocean. Rescue teams reached the site quickly, but there was no chance of saving him. At 53, Denver's sudden death stunned fans. His music had become a soundtrack for joy and comfort, and the image of his small plane falling from the sky stood in stark contrast to the warmth he had always given through song. Number 6. Lisa Left Eye Lopes. Lisa Lopes, one-third of the hit group TLC, was as fiery as she was creative. By 2002, she had stepped away to work on solo projects and personal healing. In April, she traveled to Honduras with friends for a spiritual retreat. On April 25th, while driving a rented Mitsubishi SUV on a rural road, the vehicle suddenly veered off course. Lopez, sitting in the front seat, lost control. The car flipped violently, tumbling into the grass. Passengers crawled from the wreckage, shaken and injured, but Lisa was killed instantly. She was only 30. Just weeks earlier, she had been recording video diaries, speaking of renewal and change. Instead, her final days became part of a haunting story, an artist searching for peace, whose life ended on a remote road far from the stage she once commanded. Number 5. Brandon Lee. Brandon Lee, son of martial arts legend Bruce Lee, was forging his own path as an actor. In 1993, he landed the role of Eric Draven in The Crow, a film that would become cult classic. The role required dark, intense scenes, but one day reality blurred with fiction. On March 31st, during filming in Wilmington, North Carolina, Brandon prepared for a sequence where his character is shot. The prop revolver handed to the actor across from him was unknowingly loaded with a real projectile left behind from a previous scene. When the trigger was pulled, Brandon fell to the floor as cast and crew froze, unsure if it was acting. Seconds later, the horror became clear. He was rushed to the hospital, but after hours of surgery, the 28-year-old actor died. His final film was later completed, forever tied to his tragic last scene. Number 4. Judith Barcy. Judith Barcy was a child star whose voice charmed audiences in The Land Before Time and All Dogs Go to Heaven. Behind the camera, however, her home life was troubled by an abusive father. On July 25, 1988, Judith spent the evening at her Los Angeles home with her mother, Maria. Neighbors later recalled hearing a loud argument. By morning, silence had fallen. Inside the house, police discovered the grim scene. Judith and her mother had both been killed before the father turned the gun on himself. Judith was just 10 years old. Her promising career, already filled with commercials, TV spots, and beloved animated roles, was cut short in an act of domestic violence that stunned Hollywood. Fans still recognize her voice in films that became timeless classics, even as her story remains one of the industry's darkest tragedies. We are now moving on to the top 3 of the list. If you have made it this far, please do not forget to like this video and subscribe to Vault of 15. Number 3. Sharon Tate. Sharon Tate was a rising actress in the 1960s, married to director Roman Polanski and expecting their first child. In August 1969, she was living in a house on Cielo Drive in Los Angeles with friends while Polanski worked abroad. On the night of August 8th, 4 followers of Charles Manson broke into the home. What followed was one of the most infamous nights in Hollywood history. Tate, 8 months pregnant, and 4 others were brutally killed in a frenzy of violence. The word pig was smeared on the front door in blood, cementing the scene's infamy. News of the murders horrified the world. Sharon was only 26, a star just beginning her ascent. The case not only scarred Hollywood, but also marked the end of the carefree 1960s, leaving behind a story of innocence destroyed by senseless cruelty. Number 2. Sam Cooke. Sam Cooke, often called the King of Soul, gave the world timeless hits like A Change Is Gonna Come and Wonderful World. By 1964, he was at the height of his career, blending gospel roots with pop stardom, but his private life was stormy, marked by womanizing and confrontations. On the night of December 11, 1964, Cooke checked into the Hacienda Motel in Los Angeles with a young woman he had met earlier. Hours later, a violent altercation erupted in the manager's office. Motel manager Bertha Franklin shot Cooke, later claiming he had forced his way in. When police arrived, they found the singer's body on the floor. He was just 33. The coroner ruled the death justifiable homicide, but the details fueled endless speculation. Fans couldn't accept that one of music's brightest voices had ended in such sudden, murky circumstances. Number 1. Tupac Shakur. Tupac Shakur, hip-hop's poet and revolutionary, lived in constant tension between fame, violence, and controversy. His lyrics spoke of pain, injustice, and survival, earning him both acclaim and enemies. On the night of September 7th, 1996, Tupac attended a Mike Tyson fight in Las Vegas with Death Row Records boss Suge Knight. After the match, they drove through the city in a BMW, music blaring. At a red light on Flamingo Road, a white Cadillac pulled alongside. A burst of gunfire tore through the night, riddling the car with bullets. Tupac was struck multiple times. Suge tried to speed away as chaos erupted around them. Rushed to University Medical Center, Tupac fought for his life for 6 days before succumbing to his injuries on September 13. He was just 25. His murder remains officially unsolved, fueling decades of speculation and myth. We hope you found this episode both haunting and unforgettable. These were the lives of stars whose brilliance ended far too soon, their stories leaving behind questions, grief, and lasting echoes in history. Thank you for watching, and remember, truth is in the list.